world of investing can be a jungle.
Manhattan, Long Island, and Queens for a month.
Okay, Mr. Jordan.
I take Quaaludes 10 to 15 times a day for my back pain. Then, I was a licensed broker at last, ready to make my fortune. My first...
Born on July the 9th, 1962 in Queens, New York, Jordan Ross Belfort became infamous for his role in swindling millions of dollars from investors in the 1990s through his investment firm, Stratton Oakmont. The son of an accountant, Belfort grew up in a modest apartment in Queens. A natural salesman, he eventually launched a business selling meat and seafood, but the company soon went bankrupt. In 1987, Belfort put his sales skills to use in a different arena. He started working for a brokerage firm, learning the ins and outs of being a stockbroker. 2 years later, Belfort was operating his own trading company, Stratton Oakmont. In 2003, Belfort was sentenced to 4 years in prison and personally fined $110 million. He served 22 months in jail, where he developed an interest in writing. His book, The Wolf of Wall Street, explores his meteoric rise and explosive crash in the financial world and is the basis for the Hollywood film with the same name. Naturally, I'm interested to know how much of the crazy character portrayed in the film really reflects the real-life Jordan Belfort.
You didn't buy more. Boom! Shocker. So
I'm talking to you now, and I have visions of the film Wolf of Wall Street. Of course, we all know you as the Jordan Belfort portrayed by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
And I've seen the film.
It was amazing, by the way.
I really liked the film. I actually was hoping that it would win the Oscars.
I know.
But how much of that film was actually fact, and how much was it fiction, really?
It's, a lot of it was factual, but there was enough fiction to change on some level the essence of who I was. And because, see, here's the deal. Remember, it's a movie. It's not a documentary. And it's meant to entertain, right? More than to, teach people a moral lesson. So, and I believe there are some amazing and moral lessons in the film if you're willing to look at the film objectively, but it's meant to, as entertainment. Yeah. The biggest departure, there's really two main departures from reality. And the first one is that the way that I go down to Wall Street at 24 years old, 23 actually, and I'm in that first day and I look at Matthew McConaughey and I say, can't we make our clients money too? Isn't that good for everyone? I'm this sort of bright-eyed, honest, ethical kid. And he's like, no, you can't. That's not the way it works here. It's not what Wall Street's all about, right? And then the next scene, I'm in a strip bar snorting cocaine. That did not happen. I was a really good kid from a really good family, and my descent into the dark side of life happened over years, very slowly, incrementally, and that's the danger. So, the only thing that troubles me about that is that, kids might look at that and think that that's how it happens. It's not. Your descent is very slow. It's, step by step.
Progressing
you almost don't
over
realize
the years.
it until it all seems, it's like you dip your toe into a piping hot bathtub, you pull it out because like, oh, it's hot, and then 5 minutes later, you feel really good. It's because you get used to it, and that's really what happened. So that was one aspect I thought, and I said, you should slow that down because it really didn't happen. Like, no, we only have 3 hours, so, sorry, we got to, so whatever, that's cool. The second thing that was a big departure from reality was the scene where I am going to leave the firm, and I get up and I give this farewell speech, and then halfway through the speech, I say, that's it, I'm staying. I'm not, the show goes on. I left. I actually left.
And how old were you then?
I was now 31 years old. Wow. So I left the firm, and I went to another company I had started called Steve Madden Shoes, you might know, which is now a $3 billion company. I owned half of that company, and I went and built, Steve and I were partners, we went and built Steve Madden Shoes. But again, I understand, especially that one, that Marty and Leo, it was so much fun, the backdrop of the firm. They wanted me to be in the firm. So that was sort of why that happened. Then I guess the third aspect was the stuff with my wife where I punched her in the stomach. That never happened. I would never, in fact, when the movie came out, we took my kids together, my ex-wife and we're still friends. We took my kids together to say, listen, this happened, that didn't happen. So, but overall though, the essence of the insanity, of the camaraderie, of the fun, and of the debauchery, it was true.
It was true.
Yeah.
So, and the character portrayed by Leonardo, I'm he is amazing. Was he true to your character?
As true as...
I'm listening to you now, but I can feel the energy.
As true as you could be in a movie that's not a documentary. In other words, there were some things that he did that made me worse than I was. And I was despicable at times. I'm the first person to admit that back in that day, there's a saying, it comes from the movie Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Well, I had this amazing power, the ability to influence and persuade, and more importantly, the ability to teach others to influence and persuade. That's a power. It's almost like a superpower when it comes to business and making money. And I abused that. In other words, I didn't hold on to the ethical line. And shame on me for that. I had to start over because of that. So I'm the first to admit I was a despicable person in some aspects.
Yeah, you were very, not exactly a role model in that
I get it, right. And yet there was some things that he did that I was like, I would never do that. So it's like, it's very tough when you see your own life unfold on screen.